How's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie 24/7 out and about during this international snowfest. Who fucking watched that game last night? Honestly, I was out with the missus. We were in a bar, saw some of the game last night, got back, watched the highlights, and even the highlights were like, you know, it's putting you to sleep type territory. It is that bad. Honestly, Gareth Southgate is the Steve Bruce of international football. He's a yes man. He's an arse licker. He won't rock the boat with regards to whoever it is, his paymaster, but goodness me, no matter what the quality is given, the bloke is an absolute loser. He's a shithouse. He shithoused his way to that job. You know, being the Middlesbrough manager and stuff like that. He shithoused his way into the job. He shithoused his way through successive tournaments and failures. And honestly, watching England is one of the most dullest things that you can ever likely to do. It's come at a great time for Newcastle United, of course, because, you know, we're down on our arse with injuries. What, 12, 13 players missing out of a 25-man squad. It's absolutely ridiculous. You know, it won't be too long before Matt and Dubravka's playing up top. So it's coming at a good time for us to try and get some of those players back fit, because, you know, when it's club football, it's, you know, 2-3 games a week all of the time, and it's just taking its toll. We needed the break to get some bodies fit and available for Eddie Howe, but yeah, from an entertainment perspective now, you know, certainly younger days, I always used to sort of like, you know, watch every England game religiously like I would Newcastle United games, but not these days. You know, we were going out last night, it was on, I'll watch a bit of it, but all it meant is that the drinks were coming faster. You know, we were out and about and enjoying it a bit more, but yeah, getting no enjoyment from watching anything to do with England. Nah, not for me. Let me know what you think down below about the England game. But like I say, for me, it's an absolute, sack of shit. It really is. But back for Newcastle United, and it's like watching a scene out of fucking Casualty or something like that. You know, with the amount of injuries that we have got at the moment, and the list just seems to be going. I know we're not even playing at the moment, but the bad news just continues to go. I know it's the Telegraph, but even so, and even with that in mind, the news is still, you know, more to do with negative situation around injuries. You know, the latest rumours, Sean Longstaff could be out for anything up till around Christmas time. He's got his foot supposedly in a boot, a protective boot. He's got some ligament damage. He's going to be missing some game time, it would appear, and that to me is a massive blow. You know, missing Bruno, we've all seen the stat going around, we haven't won with Bruno out of the team, but Sean Longstaff, without him, we generally don't do that well, because he does the nitty gritty. He covers every blade of grass. He gets around and he puts it about, and he does all the off the ball stuff, so that the likes of Bruno, your Willocks, etc., can shine. You know, it's without that spade work, without that groundwork getting put in, then you know, the more skillful players don't look as good. So it is a massive blow if it is true and to be the case. I know it's Spuke Edwards and stuff like that, and he loves causing a little bit of a, you know, a shitstorm for Newcastle United. But if his sources are correct, if his articles are true, then it looks like Sean Longstaff is going to be spending at least a couple of weeks out, if not, you know, 5 or 6 weeks in total. And on top of all the other injuries that we've got, it's poor timing. We still don't know what's going on with Sven Botman, but again, he's speculating. He's you know, stating that he thinks it could be anything up till February, you know, with surgery. So again, another massive blow, another huge setback for Newcastle United, because there's nothing we can do about bringing in reinforcements until January, and the games are coming so fast. There's a lot of games to be played between now, you know, and when we can actually do something. So I think the one bit of definite good news, Alexander Isak, he's back there or thereabouts. Harvey Barnes is not a million miles away, and that'll be a huge you know, plus, because it just hasn't gone well for him, has it, so far in the Newcastle United shirts. We've seen little moments of brilliance, but in the big scheme of things, it hasn't been great. and Miggy should hopefully be fine for the Chelsea game. If he doesn't make the Chelsea game, he won't be far off. But again, to temper those little bits of good news, Callum Wilson out yet again. And it's so frustrating because even before the season kicked off, I think most, like 99% of Newcastle United fans were saying we cannot go into a season with only two fit and recognised strikers who do have an injury, a history of picking up niggles and knocks and injuries and stuff. You see some strikers and they're just available all the time, aren't they, for other clubs? But for our system, I don't know, is it our system, the way that we play, the press? I don't know what it is. I know Callum Wilson has his own fitness program and stuff like that, but he's out yet again, and probably again facing around about 6 weeks out in total, which Isak's return is timely, but can he play 2-3 times a week every week for the next 5 or 6 weeks? The answer is no. He will break down again. So it's about rotating. It's about probably playing Anthony Gordon up top, maybe playing Joe Linton up top occasionally. We've got no Jacob Murphy. Jacob Murphy was identified earlier in the season as somebody who could play up top. We are really down on numbers. Ben Parkinson, is he ready? Is he really ready to be able to take that massive step up into the first team picture? I don't know. I don't think that he is. Two strikers, and it does come back to what we were saying, like I was touching upon a bit ago, that back in January, and well, we've been screaming out for a strike for quite a while, but even say back in the summer, I think everybody was saying, look, we've got too many fullbacks. Even though we are low on fullbacks as well, probably now we're getting down on numbers. Honestly, I'm going to left back for the next game. But we were probably saying, look, we are overstocked in some areas and understocked and underprepared in certain areas. And I understand the reasoning. Strikers are difficult creatures to be able to get hold of. They are expensive players to be able to sign. I get that, but the balance of the squad probably wasn't where it needed to be, in all honesty. And we're still carrying what I perceive to be a lot of players possibly past the sell-by date, players that should have been maybe moved on, and younger players brought in. We've then signed the likes of Minter and Koal, and then we've loaned them straight out. And I think that's possibly one of the first things that we could do. If the budgets are tight in January, as we're led to believe again, likes of Luke Edwards mentioning budgets are tight, FFP and all that sort of thing, and we don't want to come falling foul of that after you've seen what happens there, what's happened to Everton. As funny as it is happening to them, we don't want it to happen to us. One of the first things we could potentially do is recall the likes of Koal and Minter on from the loans. Minter, yes, he's unavailable at the moment, he's been injured, but he's had a good impact. Can't imagine the injury's too bad or for too long, and it's a player that we could get back straight away and fit and available for the beginning of January, certainly. So we're not having to wait, we're not having to pull any money out. We paid 7-8 million quid for Minter, and he's done all right. I know it's in Holland, but he's playing with a Champions League level club. He's done well, he scored goals, he's got assists. We are down on our numbers again. You've got Miggy out there. Can he play every single game, week in and week out? He cannot. There needs to be alternatives, other bodies in there who you can rotate, around with. So my thinking would be just to get the likes of Minter in and just to give him the chance. It's a sink or swim. If it doesn't go well, he'll get another loan in the summer, and again have a chance to be able to develop away from Tyneside. Same with Koal. He's not done probably as much as I would have maybe expected him to do in Holland, but again, if we've got nobody else, then is it worth looking at bringing him back, given how much hype, how much like everybody was saying how much of a great player he is? Why not just bring him in? And again, if you're at 60 minutes and you're winning the game, it's an extra body to maybe able to throw up top, bring Isak on, bring Isak off, bring Koal on. it's something else to be able to rest Isak so he's not have to play all the time, and to protect and trying to reduce the risk of injury as much as is humanly possible. If we do have money available, if we're able to be able to extract as much maximum value out of the budget as possible, then the striker has to be near the top. A good, young, pacey striker would be an absolute and utter godsend as far as I'm concerned. I know we need probably a midfielder, but with more options in midfield than what we do up top for certain. So, like I say, with all that in mind, personally, I'd like to see a striker brought in. I'm hoping that the injury situation with regards to Sven Botman isn't what the Telegraph's saying. It isn't until February. I think Lascelles has done amazingly well. There was lots of question marks when he first came in. I think like I said, Paul Dummett's come in and done really, really well. I mean, I'm saying that a little bit quietly. I don't know why. I'm by myself today. But, it comes as a little bit of a shock because I don't think any of us were expecting it. But the players who have come in at the back, Emil Kraft, Paul Dummett, Jamal Lascelles, have all done well. But when it comes to, up front, we literally have nobody else. There's no other... there's no other alternatives, is there? So that is where the need is more. So whether we bring players that we've got out on loan back to Tyneside, or whether we can use some money or bring in a loan with a future or an obligation, something like loan now, buy later type job, I don't know. But we've got to do something to address the issues up top, because we were toothless against Bournemouth and it cost us points. We clearly have a better team than than Bournemouth, but we're on 100% empty. There's no doubt about it. I don't blame the lads, because they've given every drop of blood, sweat and tears. I've no doubt about it. They'll be as frustrated and pissed off as everybody else would have been in that situation. I've no doubt about it. But it's one of them things. Like I say, if it was a boxing match, the referee would have stepped in and just stopped it straight away. But yeah, looking forward to the next time that we play Bournemouth. I'm sure it'll be a different result, no doubt about it. But yeah, we need some work done with regards to transfers. Eddie Howe was playing very, very coy the last time he spoke to all the press and stuff, and he says, no, we haven't really looked at January or anything else like that. It's absolute bullshit. It's smoke and mirrors, isn't it, and stuff like that. Eddie Howe is famous for it. With injuries and stuff like that, he'll say our players struggling, he's not going to make it. Then he'll be on the bench at the weekend. There's no doubt about it for me. There's scouts all over the place from Newcastle United. There's lots of reports from lots of different journalists, papers, stuff like that. We are checking out this player, that player. I know every player that we've got a need for, we seem to be checking out. They wouldn't be doing that for no reason. There's clearly planning going into it. There's clearly purpose, and they clearly want to act as quickly as possible in this upcoming transfer window. And they need to, because again, you delay a week, you delay 2 weeks, you can have played 3, 4, 5, 6 games. So you got to get them players in early to get the benefit of having them and to get the benefit on hopefully results and goals and assists and so on and so forth. So I've no doubt about it. They will have been alarmed. 12, 13 players missing is unprecedented, despite what some of the other managers in the Premier League are fucking moaning and whinging about. The situation at Newcastle United is totally and utterly off the fucking charts. So with how precise, with how detailed Eddie Howe is, and the managers and the owners and everybody being sort of aligned in one way, I have no doubt that they will be looking to do everything that they humanly can to be able to support Eddie Howe and the squad to get as high up the league as is humanly possible. Hopefully try to get back into the Champions League. That would be great. It may be too much with all these injuries. It really may be too much. It may be the straw that broke the camel's back type job. I hope not. There's still lots of football to be able to play for, and I'm still confident and believe in the team and the project and stuff. But look, you've only got to watch the documentary, haven't you, from last season? And I've been re-watching that, actually. And you sit there listening to board meetings where they're saying, look, from one of the historical not big six clubs, as in cartel clubs, to get into the Champions League, there is normally a drop-off the following season. We are in that following season. So it could well be that there is a drop-off, a fall-off of some sorts. But at the end of the day, as a fan, we're still in the League Cup, doing really well in that. We're still well-placed in the Premier League. We're still, got a chance of this season progressing into a European competition of some sort, into the new year and everything. We've still got the FA Cup. So things are going absolutely fantastically well. It's just literally a little bit of a pivotal moment to see which way that the season will go. But I think as fans, we know the challenges, we know how difficult it is, we know that the system is rigged to protect the current elite, and to get into that on a consistent basis is going to take good luck, good management, determination, and so on and so forth. So, regardless, the fans will be 1,000% behind Eddie Howe, the lads, the team, the management, the owners, and things will come good. Hopefully, there's the Premier League, isn't there, meeting next week? I think it's on the 21st. Pardon the cars beeping at me now. Hopefully a little bit more certainty and clarity on regards to loans between related parties and all that will come out. Be interesting to see if Newcastle are at the arse end of another dodgy decision of the Premier League, or whether the fact that Jim Ratcliffe is coming into Manchester United and wanting to switch players between one club and the other club, whether that affects it a little bit. It may well do, mightn't it? You wouldn't be surprised, honestly. So crooked, the Premier League. And talking about the Premier League, I can't get past recent developments. Obviously, a 10-point deduction, hasn't there, for Everton? 10-point deduction. I thought it was going to be more. I thought it was going to be 12 points plus. It perhaps should have been more, looking at the Premier League rulebook. But I think 10 points, it's the right thing to do. If they've cheated and they've got benefit of it, the only thing I would say is that it should be done a lot quicker, so it happens in the season where the issues are arisen and not further down, because now you've got legal things being drawn up, you've got people absolutely irate, other clubs irate, and now there's going to be messy court cases and all sorts. But I think it might not be the end for Everton. I really do. The Scouse Mackems go second bottom, below likes of Sheffield United. I think because of how low points are down there, they're probably going to be okay this season. But again, you've got to think about these legal cases. If they are awarded, these other clubs, hundreds of millions of pounds, which is technically possible because these clubs who went down suffered huge losses because of the relegation. And they are saying it partly down to the fact that this lot were cheating. If they win, Everton are left with a bill of many millions of pounds. You don't know about possible administration, further points getting deducted as well because of that, if they haven't got enough money to be able to pay all this. Then does that mean that you fail another FFP because you've had, you know what I mean? It very quickly becomes into a bigger and bigger situation, and it's, rather than looking at the likes of Newcastle United and loaning players between clubs, they need to be looking at getting the own house in order, because it is an absolute fucking mess. And from a PR perspective, Everton get 10 points, yet you've still got the Chelsea situation that needs sorting and the Manchester City one. The Manchester City, Everton have got done 10 points for one breach of FFP. With Manchester City, I think it's like something like 115. Fuck me, they're going to be in the Conference South or something like this. Not even the Conference North, the Conference fucking South. We're like, with all the potential for points deductions for them. Chelsea as well, this is deep stuff, and it doesn't look great that Everton got punished in a far shorter time scale than what the likes of Manchester City were. And I know there's legal complications and legal arguments, and the larger cases are probably stretched out over a longer time because there's more work to be done to be able to sort it. But it's not a great look. And if you're a Manchester City or a Chelsea fan, you've got to be shitting yourself even more for when these things are sorted out, because, like I said, Everton 10 points. How many points for Manchester City? How many points for Chelsea? It's an absolute and utter fucking mess with regards to the Premier League and this FFP. It should just be, for me, you can spend what you fucking want. You can argue about wage caps and stuff like that, as long as there's somebody there writing the checks with a guarantee that all these monies are going to be paid for and stuff like that. Then it stops all of this absolute shite that's going on at the moment. It used to be, when Chelsea were a middle of the table club taking over, and then all of a sudden, they're winning Champions Leagues and stuff like that. There was no FFP. There was none of this fucking financial bickering and falling out and boardroom politics BS. It was just, they come into money, they had that money there, they spent it to become better as a result, and everybody else had to catch up and find different ways of being able to do it. But now, with this FFP, with all of this shit that can be just so easily manipulated, and we've seen, offshore payments, different companies paying managers different amounts of money for this, which is open to interpretation in different ways and stuff like that. It's just a fucking mess, isn't it? And it's another example of Richard Masters, who couldn't run a piss up in a fucking brewery. He really couldn't. He talks more shite than a fucking a group of fucking diuretic camels. He really does, honestly. It's just a mess, and no matter where you look in football at the moment, that's how it sort of feels at the moment. If it's not the referees coming under scrutiny, it's the Premier League. It's not the Premier League, it's the fucking FA and issues to do with the fucking England team, and this. Everywhere there is problems, and it just needs to be simplified down. There needs to be some sort of regulations brought in. But oh my word, honestly, that the people brought in to oversee everything and run all of these organisations must be as thick as pig shit. That's literally the only thing you can think. It's an absolute and utter circus. But yeah, can't wait to see Newcastle United back. It was obviously my birthday recently. New shirt, so yeah, wife and kids knew what to get, all Newcastle United stuff on my birthday, so looking forward to being back at St James's Park, and a couple of away days as well booked as well coming up that I'm looking forward to, including the Everton game, which should be really spicy and fierce and stuff like that, with the sort of history and the friction between the two clubs. So looking forward to that one, and hopefully looking forward to some Newcastle United players coming back, being fit and available, because like I say, our injury list, when you look into it, it's like you've got to become sort of medical expert these days. It's like an episode of fucking Casualty or something like that. It really is. It's shocking, it's long, it's horrendous. Yeah, I wasn't talking about the neck on Richard Masters, not like that. I'm just on about the injuries. But fingers crossed we get some players back available, because the games are going to be coming thick and fast. The Milan tickets came through, the digital download type ones, recently, and that's another game to be able to look forward to. Massive name. And again, a little bit of spice, a little bit of beef, and maybe a little bit of legal shenanigans going on between the two clubs as well. So again, you're talking about a mess of a situation at the moment in football, and there's lots of little sub-stories. And Newcastle v AC Milan on the pitch should be nice, decent, tasty game. Great atmosphere, no doubt about it. But could be some ramifications to still come off this Tonali situation, Boy, are we missing him. £50 million in Bandle next season. So yeah, let me know your thoughts on the England game, about the situation going on in the Premier League. Points deductions here, there and everywheres. And, what do you think with regards to loans? Should we bring the likes of Minter back, Garang Kual back to Tyneside to have a look at them? Should we be trying to bring in other players? Do you like the looks of Calvin Phillips? He's been strongly linked, but again, another player with a huge injury history, hasn't he? He's had his injuries, he's struggled, he's missed days. I think I totted up his injuries over the last 2 seasons, like 200, I would say 230, but certainly over 200 days he's missed through injury. Now that's unfortunate, it's unlucky, but you know, do we as part of our recruitment strategy need to be looking for players who maybe haven't had that injury history and hopefully have less likelihood to be able to get injured? I know you can't predict injuries and stuff, can you? But it's about trying to reduce the risk and to reduce the chances as much as possible. So is Calvin Phillips somebody we should be looking at straight away, or should we be prioritising strikers? Goals win games, that's all I know. So I would like to see a striker brought in personally. If we haven't got the money, I say bring back Minter, bring back Grand Kowal. And yeah, let's see what they can do. Let's give them the opportunity. Let's give them the platform. And you just never know. The stadium, the fans behind, etc. You just don't know how they'll be able to react. And yeah, the answer might be staring us squarely in the eyes. Would be about right, wouldn't it? So yeah, let me know about that all down below. Subscribe to all the Magpie 24 channels. We're literally on everything, aren't we? Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Threads, so on and so forth. YouTube, of course. 135,000 followers is absolutely amazing. There's still content happening throughout this international ball fest. There's another England game coming up shortly. If you can't get to sleep, I recommend watching that one. It'll you know, it'll help you drift away as Gareth Southgate comes up with another you know, long list of reasons and excuses why England are playing so fucking shite. Yes, so I'm gonna leave it there. Subscribe to Magpie 24/7, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.